My name is Doris Higginbotham, and I'm 35 years old. I used to believe Christmas was about family, about warmth, about belonging. This year, I learned how wrong I was. I'd been looking forward to Christmas for weeks, maybe longer. I bought the gifts early, wrapped them carefully, even picked up a few extras in case someone unexpected showed up. I always did that. I liked being prepared. I liked being the one who made things easier for everyone else. It made me feel needed. I arrived at my parents' house just after sunset, my trunk packed with presents and my heart packed with hope. I probably should have known better than to carry. The porch light was on. The house looked warm from the outside, normal, safe. My mom opened the door. She didn't smile. "We don't want you here this year," she said flatly. For a second, I actually laughed. It was automatic, my brain refusing to accept what my ears had just heard. I thought maybe this was some awkward joke, some poorly delivered attempt at humor. Then my brother Jacob stepped into view behind her. He leaned against the hallway wall, arms crossed, a lazy smirk spreading across his face. "This isn't a place for losers," he said. Just like that. My dad stood a few steps behind them, eyes fixed on the floor like it had suddenly become the most interesting thing in the room. My mom shifted uncomfortably, but she didn't correct Jacob. She didn't defend me. The silence did that part for her. I felt it then, a slow, sick wave rising in my chest. Confusion first, then embarrassment, then anger so sharp it made my hands shake. But I didn't explode. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I nodded once. "Okay." And I walked back to my car. Inside, the quiet was deafening. I sat there staring at the back seat, at the perfectly wrapped gifts I'd spent weeks picking out. Gifts for my parents, for Jacob, for his kids, extras I'd bought just in case. Something inside me snapped. I got out of the car and went back to the door. "Why?" I asked. Jacob laughed. Actually laughed. "You've been slacking, Doris. The kids barely got anything this year. It's embarrassing." I blinked at him. "I paid for their school camp, their supplies. I covered part of your mortgage last spring." My mom cut in, arms folded tight. "But you bought a new car." That was the moment it all clicked. They didn't care about me. They cared about what I could give. "The car is on credit," I said calmly. "And even if it wasn't, how does buying a car make me responsible for Jacob's kids?" Jacob shrugged and sank deeper into the couch like this was all perfectly logical. "You make the most money. Families help each other. You've always done that." I glanced past him and saw Kelly, his wife, sitting silently in the corner. Her face was flushed, eyes glued to her hands like she wished she could disappear into the carpet. "So because I've been generous before," I said slowly, "I'm obligated forever, and if I stop, I'm a loser." Jacob tilted his head. "If the shoe fits." That was it. I took a step back, shaking my head. "You're right. I don't belong here. Enjoy your Christmas." Then I looked straight at him. "And good luck with those presents, because this loser is done financing your life." I didn't wait for a reply. The drive home was silent. My grip on the steering wheel was so tight my fingers ached. Jacob's words replayed over and over in my head, each time cutting a little deeper. For years, I'd helped his family through every rough patch: rent, daycare, school supplies. Not because I had to, because I cared about those kids, because I didn't want them to go without. But now I finally saw the truth. This wasn't about Christmas. It was about entitlement. And tonight was the night I stopped paying for it. The house felt too quiet after that. When I got home, I carried every single gift inside and lined them up neatly against the wall, like evidence in a trial no one else would ever see. I didn't unwrap them. I didn't cry. I just stood there, staring, letting the weight of the night settle into my bones. I kept hearing Jacob's voice. "If the shoe fits." I poured myself a glass of water and sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped tightly around it. My reflection in the dark window looked older somehow, tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. For years, I'd told myself I was helping because I wanted to, because family mattered, because Jacob's kids didn't choose their parents' mistakes. Rent when he was between jobs, daycare when Kelly went back to work, school supplies, camp fees, emergency repairs. Every request had come with a story, a reason, an apology that slowly faded into expectation. I had never once kept a ledger, but Jacob had, and in his, generosity had turned into obligation. The realization made my stomach twist. The next morning, Christmas Day, my phone stayed silent. No apology, no awkward, "we went too far." Nothing from my parents, nothing from Jacob, not even a text from Kelly. For the first time in years, I spent Christmas alone. I made myself coffee, turned on the TV for background noise, and tried not to think about what my absence meant. I imagined Jacob's kids opening fewer presents than usual and felt the familiar tug of guilt. "This is your fault," a small voice whispered. I silenced it, because for once it wasn't. New Year's Eve came and went the same way. Quiet, empty, untouched. Jacob's words echoed in my head when the clock hit midnight, and I realized something else that hurt almost as much as the rejection itself. They weren't missing me. They were missing my money. In January, I finally heard from Kelly. Her message was short, careful. "I'm sorry about what happened. That wasn't fair to you." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "I can't pretend it didn't happen," I typed back. "I need space." She didn't argue. A week later, Jacob showed up, unannounced. I was halfway through a work meeting on my laptop when the doorbell rang. I ignored it. Then it rang again, and again. I muted my microphone and opened the door. Jacob didn't even say hello. He pushed past me like he owned the place. "We need to talk," he said, pacing my living room. "You really screwed us over." I felt heat rush to my face. "Helping out?" I snapped. "You mean paying for your life?" He spun around, eyes wide. "Kelly's struggling. The kids need more. You can't just abandon them." I crossed my arms. "I reminded you of how you lied about me, how you turned Mom and Dad against me, how you banned me from Christmas." "That was different," he said quickly. "No," I replied, "it wasn't." I stepped closer, my voice low and steady. "We're done, Jacob. Don't contact me again until you figure out how to be an adult." He stared at me like I'd slapped him. 2 days later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Hello? Is this Doris Higginbotham?" a man asked politely. "Yes, who's calling?" "My name is Mark Dawson. I'm an attorney. I represent a client with concerns regarding financial matters involving your family. Would you be willing to come to my office to discuss them?" My heart dropped. "What financial matters?" "I'm afraid I can't discuss details over the phone," he said calmly, "but they involve contributions you've made to your brother and how they were used." My mind raced. Had Jacob taken out loans in my name, used my information for something illegal, or was this another attempt to guilt me into helping? "Who's your client?" I asked tightly. There was a pause. "Your sister-in-law," he said. "Kelly." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him. And I had no idea that meeting would change everything I thought I knew about my family. Mark Dawson's office was quieter than I expected. Muted gray walls, a wide desk, not a single family photo in sight. The kind of place designed to keep emotions outside the door. I didn't succeed. I sat across from him, my hands folded in my lap, heart pounding so hard I was sure he could hear it. "Before we begin," I said, "I need to know why Kelly would hire a lawyer about me." Mark nodded once, like he'd anticipated the question. "She didn't, not at first." He slid a thick folder across the desk toward me. "My client believes your brother has been hiding money," he said. "Money you gave him." The room tilted. "Hiding how?" I asked slowly. "By diverting funds into a separate account," Mark replied. "An account used for gambling and personal expenses. Not household bills, not the children." My stomach dropped. "You're saying the money I gave for rent, school, groceries?" My voice trailed off. Mark nodded. "It appears very little of it went toward those things." I opened the folder. Bank statements, transaction histories, screenshots of messages, dates that lined up perfectly with every time I'd stepped in to help. Large withdrawals, online gambling sites, high-end restaurants, hotel stays. I felt sick. "He told me he was behind on daycare," I whispered. Mark's expression softened. "The withdrawal that week went to a casino platform." I pressed my lips together, fighting the urge to cry or scream. "Did Kelly know?" I asked. "She suspected something was wrong," Mark said, "but she didn't have access to the accounts until recently. He got sloppy, left statements out. That's when she contacted me." I leaned back in the chair, numb. Years of sacrifices, of saying no to myself so I could say yes to Jacob's family. And all this time, he'd been playing me. "She doesn't want to press charges," Mark continued. "Her priority is protecting herself and the kids. But she wanted you to know, especially since he tried to get money from you again." A bitter laugh escaped me. "He already did." Mark nodded. "He's under pressure now. Without your support, things are unraveling." "Is Kelly leaving him?" I asked, surprised by how much that question mattered. Mark hesitated. "She's considering it." I left the office in a fog. Anger burned hot in my chest. Betrayal cut deeper than I expected. But beneath it all was something else. Relief. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying Jacob's weight. That night, my phone lit up. "Jacob!" I stared at his name before answering. "What do you want?" I asked. We need to talk, he said, his voice tight. You told Kelly something, didn't you? I laughed. You think I'm the problem? You're the one who lied, who gambled away money meant for your kids. Silence. Oh, I continued, my voice shaking now. Don't pretend. I've seen the account. The gambling, the hotels, all while I was breaking my back to help you. You don't know what you're talking about, he muttered. I know everything, I snapped. And if Kelly's done with you, that's on you. Drag me into this again and I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. I hung up before he could respond. My hands shook, but I felt lighter than I had in years. The truth was finally out, and Jacob was running out of places to hide. The fallout didn't take long. The very next morning, my phone buzzed with Kelly's name. I hesitated before answering, my chest tight with a mix of dread and sympathy. Doris, she said softly. I could hear the strain in her voice. I confronted him. I closed my eyes. How did it go? There was a pause. He denied it at first, said the account wasn't real. Then I showed him the statements. Another pause, longer this time. He didn't even apologize, she continued. He blamed you. Said if you hadn't stopped helping, he wouldn't have needed to gamble to fix things. I felt a flash of anger so sharp it stole my breath. That's not true, and you know it. I do, Kelly said quietly. That's why I'm done. The words settled heavily between us. I'm taking the kids, she went on. I can't keep covering for him. I won't teach them that this is normal. I swallowed. What do you need from me? Just support, she said. Not money, not yet. Just someone who believes me. I do, I said without hesitation. A week passed, then another. Jacob tried calling, texting, leaving voicemails that swung wildly between rage and self-pity. I didn't respond. Then one night, he showed up again. This time I didn't let him inside. You ruined my life, he yelled from the porch. You turned my own wife against me. I stayed calm. No, Jacob, you did that all on your own. You think you're so righteous, he sneered. Helping her now after everything? I'm helping the kids, I corrected. Something you forgot to do. He left screaming, tires squealing as he pulled away. 2 weeks later, Kelly texted me. We're leaving today. She told me she'd packed what she could fit in the car and was moving out of state to stay with her sister. She asked if I could help with first month's rent, just this once. I didn't hesitate. For the first time, the help felt right. Clean. Unforced. Jacob found out within hours. He called, furious, ranting about betrayal and loyalty and how family was supposed to stick together. I listened quietly until he ran out of steam. If you spent half this energy being a husband and father, I said calmly, you wouldn't be in this mess. I hung up and blocked his number. Weeks passed. Kelly found a steady job. The kids started adjusting. She sent me pictures of them smiling again, real smiles this time. Jacob, from what I heard through my parents, was still blaming everyone but himself. But that was no longer my burden. For the first time in my life, I understood something clearly. Setting boundaries didn't make me heartless. It saved me. And for the first time in years, I finally felt free.